Good morning and welcome to today's programme. I'm Lavinia McCall and today's topic is all about alcohol consumption in young women. I have three guests with me. We've got Karen Miller, specialist midwife, Dr. Julie Hopkins, a specialist also in this field, and Mel Keys is going to tell us about her own personal experience. So, Karen, let's start with you. You're a specialist working with these women.
Yep. So the major part of my role is working with young women and recognising their individual needs. Amongst the social group, they have some similarities, such as they have drunk and still are drinking within the pregnancy because they drunk before, and they also feel it's socially acceptable to be drinking.
Right, so there's a lot going on in the lives of these women, it's clear. Mel, you've told me about yourself, but just tell our viewers about your story.
So I'm 18 and I got pregnant when I was 17, but I've been drinking since I was about 15 years old, but with all my friends that's socially acceptable around my area. So.
Right, can I just ask you, are you still drinking, Mel?
I am still drinking a little bit, but not as much as what I were before I got pregnant, but I find it really difficult when I'm around my friends and they're asking me out all the time. At the end of the day I'm 18,
yeah.
So.
Yeah. Dr. Julie Hopkins, tell us, what advice are we giving to women like Mel?
Well, the advice out there comes from the chief medical officers, and they set the guidelines for all health professionals that interact with pregnant women and women wanting to get pregnant. And the advice is that they shouldn't be consuming any alcohol, because we don't know that if there's a safe amount, we know that this is the safest approach. This is because alcohol can further impact the pregnancy. So pregnancy comes with its own symptoms. So it can exacerbate anemia, it can do a higher risk of catching infections, you're more dehydrated, there'll be more nausea and vomiting, things like that. All we know is that the more that is drunk, the more adverse effects it will have.
Right, and do you think women know about this?
Unfortunately not. Multiple studies are out there and they have actually shown that nearly 30% of women still drink during the pregnancy. They know they're pregnant, they know the risks, and they're still doing it. And alongside this, another piece of research says that women feel that alcohol consumption in pregnancy isn't even being addressed. So we know it's something we do need to tackle.
Wow, you've said 30%, right? That's a staggering amount. What do you think is going wrong?
Well, I think there just needs to be more education. I think there needs to be more support just for all over for these women.
And what about the effects to baby?
It can affect baby quite badly, unfortunately. As if mum's drinking, then so is baby, because alcohol passes through to the placenta very, very easily. Alcohol is toxic to the fetus, so it can really damage all the fetal development. Things like poor growth, physical abnormalities, and even learning and behaviour problems later in life can be results of drinking in pregnancy.
Right, Mel, did you know this?
I had no idea. I knew it was affecting me, but I didn't think it was going to affect my baby. It makes me feel really guilty that I'm drinking now.
Yeah, and did you feel that you had any impacts on your health and well-being by drinking?
Well, I did feel depressed, which is why I drank. So when I woke up, if I felt down, alcohol would make me feel that much better, so I would drink. Vicious circle.
Yeah, understandable. Dr. Hopkins, is this a similar experience to other women, what Mel is experiencing?
It is, yeah. It's widely out there in research and such that alcohol is a depressant, and the more you drink, the more severe the symptoms are. Depression, anxiety, very, very common.
Yeah. So let's be a bit cheerful, talk about some support. Karen, what support is out there?
Okay, so it's actually stated in the Nursing and Midwifery Code that midwives must avoid making assumptions and act in partnership with these women. At a booking appointment, we will ask questions which can be quite invasive, but we will ask about alcohol consumption. And if we get answers about these, we can then give extra support to these women. It is essential to ensure that the health and well-being of these women and her baby are met. So it's vital that young women who drink in the pregnancy are supported and not judged by the midwives. However, I do feel there is a lack of NHS funding and resources available which hinder the capability for midwives to address this situation. And it's well documented in the Royal College of Midwives that many midwives feel under pressure due to shortages of midwives, and alongside this, shrinking budgets. I feel that this will jeopardise the midwifery profession later on in life, and the well-being of women.
Wow. So what happens if a woman declines this support? What do you do then?
Well, as midwives, we feel it's a woman's right to we have to respect a woman's autonomy, providing we give her the best evidence-based information, and women can only make these decisions on her own. It's regardless then of if we think that this decision is the right decision as well. We have to remain professional at all times, and within these situations it's important to remember how the woman may feel at the time as well. Like Miranda stated earlier on, she did feel guilty, and she still does feel guilty. Therefore, just bringing up the topic at the time of booking, it's important to address the issue so then she can feel that she has the capability to discuss with us then.
Yes, just want to bring it back to a point that you mentioned about the lack of funding. What do you think on what the Prime Minister has said? She said that she's going to pledge £21 billion to put into the NHS to meet these problems. What do you think about that? It's going to help?
Well, from what I can see, although it's been pledged, no specifics have been given to the amount that are going to be given to the midwifery services. Therefore, it's hard to judge what benefits midwives are going to gain from this. However, currently there is a project called Project 6, which is in the north of England. Before we came on air, I spoke briefly with Mel, and she discussed what she'd gone through. I don't know if you want to go further into it.
So my midwife referred me from one of my appointments to Project 6, and they've given me some strategies of how to lower my alcohol intake. So they've been absolutely amazing. They're non-judgmental, and they said that they're going to stick with me as well, for 2 years after I've given birth, to make sure that I stay on the right track.
Excellent. And you've found benefit from this in your health and well-being?
So far, I'm sleeping better. I've started eating healthier.
Great. Karen, is this form of support accessible to all women, Project 6, or things like it?
Unfortunately not. It's only in the north of England at the minute. It's been well documented as well that people who live in deprived areas are not able to access other facilities that are then available to people who are living within more affluent areas.
But is this ethical? Surely it can't be fair.
I agree, it's not ethical at all. But unfortunately, midwives have no control over the political decisions that are made by the government.
Okay, so this is all understandable. I'm taking it in. Dr. Hopkins, you deal with the research side of things. So just tell us, what is the research out there that's going to help us understand how we can support these women?
Yeah, so there's lots of theories and methods and support approaches out there. So, and they're all in research as well. So one piece of research has evaluated how effective studies are, and one of these is brief alcohol intervention. So this is any support that aims at providing motivation for behaviour change, so not telling women off. And it's always in a short amount of time as well, so it can be doable in the appointments that Karen has. So research by Tanner Smith and Lipsey, they actually did they looked at 185 studies around these brief interventions. And found that it was really good because it's designed to motivate women and give them these tips and tricks to stop drinking and to help those cravings and such. So it's very, very much out there.
Great. Karen, have you found that by adopting this brief alcohol intervention approach is beneficial?
Well, it's an approach I do follow, and address out to a lot of the young pregnant women that are referred to me. I use a motivational interview approach, which is when you speak to a woman positively, they're more likely to engage with you then.
Right, okay, so listening to what you're saying, I'm kind of understanding that it's through using motivational interviewing with women that they're more likely to open up to us, build a rapport and feel that they can tell you about their alcohol consumption. And then you can refer them on to services like Project 6 or other alcohol brief interventions.
Yeah, that's right.
Thanks, Karen, for that. So just in one word, tell me what you'd like to see improved.
I'd like a forum, an app on my phone.
Really good. I think definitely more training for midwives. Add it onto mandatory training. I think it can be done.
And I feel like government funding, I think that will help us in the long run for future.
Great. Mel, Dr. Hopkins and Karen, thank you so much for joining me today. Unfortunately, that's all we have time for, but do join us again for another episode of Good Morning Club.